when I was a kid were gay and they lived together in a civil partnership. And at various points later, when I was like out and stuff, my neighbour and I were like quite close, and he'd like have me around like once a week, and we'd have dinner and that, and he'd like tell me about what it was like when he was younger, like in the 80s and stuff. And like one time I said the word queer around him, and he was like, "How do you feel about the word queer?" And I just went, "I think it's fine for me, and people my age all use it all the time, but if someone had a problem with it, then I would just never say it in front of them ever again." Like, because I realised that it was more of a contentious subject for him than it would be for me.
So it's an interesting one with the word queer, because more and more people, and especially younger generation, they want to use the word queer rather than having all these different acronyms that sort of sum everything up. And it's surprising how far we go with the acronyms now, because and I think for some people, you know, some people just one word would fit in, and a lot of people have started to go back to the word queer.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, in Manchester especially, I think we reclaimed that word when queer, the bar opened on Canal Street. I suppose with that, you know, we've got to value everyone for who they or how they want to identify. And I think, you know, no one should be able to sort of criticise anyone or to sort of make comment or judgment on anyone, how they define themselves. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. How you treat someone, whether or not it's how you deserve respect. And it's about respecting other people to be respected yourself. And you know, anyone can identify however they wish. But I do think it does get complicated, especially for people in sort of mainstream straight world. When you're trying to explain to them about how people identify when all they see is either male, female, gay, straight. You know, they don't sort of see the bigger picture, trans, non-binary. You know, even, you know, I go to, whenever I do meetings, it's always hi, possibly my pronouns are he, him, his. The amount of times that people are like, what are your pronouns? Why are you telling us that for? We can tell, you know, we can see that you're like, well, it's not about you specifically. It's about the trans, non-binary, gender fluid people in the room, to sort of make them feel welcome, and also to sort of get them to understand, because just because that's how I may seem, that's not how I may identify. So I think partly, going back to the word queer, I can see why a lot of people do prefer, especially younger generation, do prefer just to sort of queerify it.
I'm a trans man, so like, I do appreciate it when cis people of any, like in or without the like LGBT community, just say what their pronouns are for exactly the same reason that you like said. Like, it just, if only trans people do it, then it sort of outs you on the spot. Because if I go, "Hi, I'm Matt, my pronouns are he, him," then you're like, "Why are you telling me?" And then you can see the little cogs whirring in their brain where they're like trying to spot different parts of you that are like, "Oh, I see, like, I don't know, you've got big hips or something."
It's true, and I think that's something we really need to be careful of, because I've been in conversations where people have been saying, you know, your pronouns should be in your email signature. Your pronouns should be this. You should be using your pronouns like that. Well, if people don't feel comfortable using the pronouns, because you could be outing people at the same time when they don't want to be. So I think it should be it should be up to them whether they do it, and I think it should be best practice. It's a nice thing to do. If you don't, then it's not the be all and end all.
Not on the fence, but like sort of like a central body of like a person who's not had a strong opinion for or against anything of this nature. I'm just like, hey, it doesn't cost you that much effort to make a lot of people comfortable. Like, you don't care about this either way. So if you just said it just for like 3 seconds, then anyone else in the room is like, "Oh, good, this is how we know where we are in this room with this," and that like just reassures a lot of people. Apart from that, like, you just got to accept that some things are never for you to fully understand. Like, I'm a binary trans person, so I don't understand what it's like to be non-binary or any of the space between like the masculine and feminine identities. But if someone says their pronouns are they, them, I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. Or like, if they're expressing themselves a certain way, like you can dress, it's like presentation versus like identity. It is not necessarily exactly the same, which is why obviously people are hardwired to just make a decision because that's what society tells you to do. But it's just you can make a decision, but you don't have to feel bad if someone's like, "Oh no, my pronouns are she, her," and you've assumed something else. Once they've told you, now you know.
Yes.
And you just go forward from there. Like, you don't have to make a deal out of it. They're not trying to embarrass you.
No.
They're just pointing it out.